In the early 2000s, Apple was focused on improving their designs, making them as futuristic and advanced as possible, so that they would age better with time. This process began with the original iMac, which unfortunately I don't have. Apple began the transition to aluminium designs a short time later. Then, in 2001, they launched the Powerbook G4. It was one of the first true widescreen laptops, with a design that far exceeded the Powerbook G3s in longevity. What I have in front of me is a laptop that launched 3 years on from that, sharing the same name. This is the 2004 variant of the Powerbook G4, featuring a more modern design while retaining the iconic appearance. To put it simply, it's aged well. From the back, this could be mistaken for a 2015 MacBook Pro, whereas the front is a different story. I got this on eBay for £50, which is about $60 to $70. These generally go in the region of well over £100 to £200 here in the UK, so I got quite a good deal. Mine unfortunately has an issue with the bottom left corner of the screen and some denting around the charging port, but other than that, it's in pretty good shape. At the front we have the hinge lock and the super drive, capable of reading and writing DVDs. On the right side we have a Kensington lock, USB 2, FireWire 400, FireWire 800, Ethernet, S-Video out and a full-size DVI port. On the left we have the rather battered charging port, modem, USB 2, audio in, audio out and an expansion slot. The LED backlit keyboard on this Powerbook is really nice and is actually what I use to write my college assignments. Surrounding it are 2 speakers, similar to the design of modern MacBook Pros, although they don't sound quite as good. The power button is nice and large so that you don't miss it, and the trackpad is decent. By that, I mean it's nice to glide across, but compared to modern MacBooks, quite frankly, it's tiny. It also lacks the ability to process multiple gestures, meaning 2-finger scrolling is out of the question here. This Powerbook G4 features a 15-inch fluorescent backlit display with a resolution of 1280 by 854. The only real issue I've found while using the laptop is its max brightness. I think the backlighting may have degraded over time, as it isn't exactly the best for lighting up a room. The bezels, however, are amazingly small for the age of this laptop. They're about half as thick as my MacBook Airs and give even newer MacBook Pros a run for their money. They really make the display seem huge. Going back to my main laptop makes the screen look tiny. Just going by the displays here, you would think that the Air was the older laptop, which is ironic because the MacBook Air is actually 7 years newer. The back of the laptop features the familiar Apple logo, and that's about it really. Inside is a 1.5 GHz PowerPC G4 CPU, upgraded 1.25GB of RAM, a 64MB ATI Mobility Radeon 9700 GPU, and a 150GB hard drive. I believe that was upgraded from the 80GB hard drive that it came with. As I mentioned earlier, this G4 is pretty hard to find nowadays, especially at a decent price. At launch, it was priced from $2,000, which, adjusted for inflation, is actually sort of on par with the new MacBook Pros. At the time, I'm sure it was amazing. I was only a year old, so I didn't really get to use it. The Powerbook released with OS X Panther, the 4th rendition of the new Aqua interface. It was supported up to Leopard. Yeah, this laptop got 2 solid updates and a few smaller ones up until 2009. That's just laughable when you consider that the 2012 iMac and MacBook Pros got 7 significant updates, from Mountain Lion all the way up to Catalina. Unfortunately, this was released only 2 years before Apple completely switched to Intel for its CPUs, so it's permanently limited to a 12-year-old OS. Using the laptop is pretty much what you'd expect from a 12-year-old laptop. Now, I deliberately said 12 instead of 17, as this stands out from other laptops from around the same time. Day to day, the performance is okay at best. I'm running OS X Tiger on it, which I think is probably for the best. It runs decently well, especially when compared to my iMac G4. It is fortunately somewhat usable on the internet thanks to 10.4 Fox, a Firefox-based browser developed just for PowerPC systems, though modern websites take a while to load. Now, how about gaming? So far, I've only been able to find one game that would be suitable for this, Halo Combat Evolved. As you can see, the game runs pretty well. It's definitely able to maintain 30 FPS, which is nice. I couldn't get newer games such as Call of Duty Modern Warfare to run due to the PowerPC platform, so I'll never know. And no, I wasn't able to run Minecraft on it. So, what are my final thoughts? Well, I'll leave you with this. While you'll probably struggle using it in place of a more modern MacBook, it's actually somewhat decent if you give it a chance. As someone who now writes scripts frequently, I use this laptop over my MacBook Air as I genuinely prefer the keyboard on it. If you're looking to get into macOS and can get one, or an iBook from a similar era, for under $50, give it a go. You might be surprised.